Every time a new Deltarune chapter drops, there's always something new to talk about. New lore, new characters, new revelations for what this means and what that means. Basically infinite YouTube content for a couple of months before fans start going insane and developing MadPad syndrome. For the record, I'm not complaining. I kinda yearn for these analysis because they always pull something out of our butt that just completely catches you off guard. And that's usually where most of the focus goes to. The little dialogue, the little details, chances are if you know Deltarune, it's because of the engaging plot and characters that to this day have a ton of people speculating what's gonna happen, yours truly included. But Chapter 5 did something very interesting that shifted the conversation slightly from what I can tell, and it's the much bigger focus on gameplay and structure. Last year, I did a video on Deltarune's gameplay loop, and with the new mechanics Chapter 5 introduced, I want to talk about the inspirations and references that created Deltarune. The new 2D gameplay sections are obviously inspired by 2D side-scrolls like Mega Man X, that's Lily Zero's moveset, and the whole transition effect is based off of Super Paper Mario. And there's nothing wrong with taking reference or taking inspiration off of something. It actually helps you appreciate something a lot more when you know what it's taking its cues from. Deltarune is one of those games that in a lot of ways celebrates gaming culture as a whole. How it's played, how its secrets are discovered, and generally the philosophy of how the game operates. A lot more people are discovering the games and series Deltarune takes its cues from, and this unfortunately led some people to automatically assume they know what's gonna happen. Like, yes, I know Muffer Free, that obviously means blank and blank will happen, and there will definitely not be any unique plot points because since Toby has taken inspiration from something, that means just give it off because he's unoriginal, is what a stupid person would say. Everyone takes inspiration from something, even your speech mannerisms can be based off someone like a friend or someone you watch on YouTube. Doesn't mean you're just copying them fully, you're an amalgamation of your entire environment, and when you apply that concentration onto a single subject, such as a video game, then people are bound to see where your life has come from. Like, if I made an original game that had so many homages to Nintendo characters in the series, anyone playing would be like, oh god, this person was a Nintendo fan growing up. And you can interpret that positively or negatively, but the point stands when it comes to the inspirations that make us. For this video, I want to talk about many of the direct and spiritual inspirations that Deltarune takes from. That sounds vague, but I'll elaborate on it soon, and I'm gonna limit the inspirations to things that I myself have also experienced. So I won't be mentioning stuff like, for example, Homestuck. That serves as a big inspiration towards Deltarune, along with the fact Toby Fox himself worked on it. But I have not read Homestuck, and I'm not gonna pretend I know a ton about the series, so I might just stick to gaming if that's cool with y'all. If we want to start somewhere, we can start with the basics. The graphics, the pixel art. My sister has begun playing Deltarune, and my dad came in and was like, huh, this is like one of those old Nintendo games. And any old person will say that, but like, it's a pretty good starting point. You can really just say it takes inspiration from 16-bit games and the like, and that's where its art direction has mainly stayed at. Lately, they've gone very bold with the effects, but the core fundamentals are the same. Because it is the core of the game though, this kind of art style just says, hey, I'm referencing a period where pixel art was commonly used in video games. So you really have no excuse to be like, I wonder what kind of inspiration was taken to make this game. Visuals are just a start though, and now I'm gonna start going into random parts of the game that clearly took inspiration from other games. 3, 2, 1, go, Earthbound. I shouldn't need to over-explain this, but a ton of the game's structure and writing is clearly based on the Earthbound franchise and its writing style. This is not just a Deltarune thing, this is a Toby Fox thing, and it's been present in his writing style since like the beginning. If you played Earthbound or any entry in the Mother series, it is the one thing that will stick in your mind when seeing anything by Toby Fox. The references and chill dialogue, as I like to call it, may not be exact one-to-one Earthbound, but you can tell where it came from. There is always anticipation what an enemy or character is going to say that will affect how you view them in gameplay, and it balances itself really well with the serious dialogue mixed in with the type of conversation you see in the Discord chat. There is actually an official list made by Toby Fox himself that details what indie games inspired him the most, and I'll be mentioning some of the games here, but take a look when you can, it's really interesting. I won't be talking about all the games on here because I haven't played them. What, you think I'm gonna lie and pretend I played it? No. I did play Cave Story though, and yeah, if we're talking inspiration, I would count this because of the spirit of the game, and let me elaborate on that. Deltarune is a game with many secrets, and I'll be talking about that later, but the way to obtain these secrets is often asinine and makes you wonder, who the hell was gonna find this out originally? Cave Story is a game with a similar attitude. This game was made by one dude. He made the graphics, gameplay, story, and its multiple endings. That is an accomplishment, and I will praise him forever for that. However, those multiple endings. Oh my god. If you want inspiration for Toby Fox's sometimes bizarre decisions to obtain something, look no further than Cave Story. I will not be spoiling the story, but the process to getting the best ending is so convoluted on the first or even second time playthrough, it expects you to not do the obvious to preserve the ending. There is one bit I will always remember from the game. At a certain point in the game, this old guy who's your ally falls into a deep pit. If you check up on him, he gives you an item that can boost you in the air and then he dies. Rest in peace. You did all you could. Or did you? Turns out, to get the best ending in the game, you have to deliberately ignore this guy and not check up on him. Then, later in the game, he comes back alive and gives you a better version of the boost item. What the hell? Why am I being punished for being a good citizen? I was supposed to let him die? Cave Story has so many of these kinds of situations, and it's very easy to lock yourself into a neutral or bad ending, and I feel that so much in Deltarune. Whenever I miss something important, that makes me need to do another replay because, oh my god, bro. But that's what I mean by the spirit of the game. You may have noticed I didn't talk about any gameplay similarities or story similarities, like how certain characters look like ones in Undertale/Deltarune. Even the game structurally isn't the same as Deltarune, it's more of a Metroidvania. But the ideas and the philosophy it follows for its game are something that can be shifted and adapted into any other form of media, and that's what I think I love about Toby Fox's work the best. His form of taking inspiration isn't just ripping everything he loved and stitching it all together in one package. It's taking something he personally got from it, either it be a message in the story, a certain style of music that touched him, or just a certain childhood memory that stuck with him all these years. Deltarune is the equivalent of being made from everything someone has loved. The culture of video games, the unique experiences you can get from video games, and of course, the video games itself. There's so many little things you'll get from understanding video game culture in Deltarune. Let's go back to those secrets. Deltarune has unique processes for obtaining certain items. It could be just looking for a curtain, doing a little secret side quest to obtain an armor that'll help you against a crazy ass knight, or going back and forth between two rooms like 50 times where you randomly get teleported to a room with a tree from a man behind it who gives you an egg, which to this day does not have an actual importance yet. How would you explain that to someone? That is a playground school rumor. That's like telling someone to play Super Smash Bros. Melee, plug in all 4 controllers, and let a versus match go on for 4 hours to unlock Mewtwo. Do you know how stupid that is? Oh my god, it's real. It's like blowing up random trees and rocks in the original Legend of Zelda. You would not know where to do that unless you had a guide or a friend. And sometimes that friend could just be lying to you because who didn't lie back then? Imagine telling someone to put 1225 into a ball machine to obtain an eerie Easter egg that makes you wonder where your hand is. #pause. This is the kind of old rumor that would permeate old internet boards. Bigfoot in GTA, Mew under that damn truck. None of these games are really the same as Deltarune, but the spirit of it is maintained. It makes sense, just follow me for a second. That feeling of satisfaction, being rewarded for your natural born curiosity, something that in a way, video games are kind of made for. They were made for you to experience something, to be invested in something. Video games are a genuine special kind of medium where you can have a level of immersion that is not felt by watching or hearing about it. I still remember the exact feeling I had beating the night for the first time, and the only times I ever felt that same exact feeling was playing Terraria Master Mode for the first time and getting through Hyrule Temple in Zelda 2. 3 completely different games that enacted that same feeling within me. And this is the part where I gotta talk about Chapter 5, which inspired this video. Chapter 5 is probably the best chapter of Deltarune gameplay-wise. I won't say much for the story, but in terms of gameplay, it's perfect. The 2D side-scroller segment hit my 10-year-old video game brain like crack. If Chris had a dash feature like a Mega Man X, I think I would actually call it the best game ever. This chapter is very direct with its references. Even casual players are able to tell what aspects it took from, and I think it's a very welcome conversation. This is one of those few times where the inspiration isn't just the spirit, but the actual gameplay mechanic itself. Sure, we had Link's Awakening-esque mechanics, but low-key, that's small potatoes compared to, well, this. And it takes so many cues from platformers in terms of how locations are designed, how secrets are uncovered. It's classic stuff you'd see in, say, classic Sonic games, where getting secrets is going towards a different path, or just exploring around. With the perspective in 2D, there's so many more challenges and ways to find secrets, and it became almost muscle memory for me because of how used I was to this kind of gameplay. I found almost all the secrets on my first playthrough due to that muscle memory, or brain memory now that I'm thinking about it now. And finishing this chapter kind of cemented a thought in my head. There's gonna be a bunch of people playing this for the first time that don't know what the game is referencing. They likely won't get where the transition took inspiration from, the 2D segments, the philosophy of obtaining certain secrets. It might as well be an entirely new concept to them. And the best thing is, you don't need to know where it took inspiration from, because it's still different and it's still really good. This goes for the music too. A lot of the tracks use sound fonts from certain video game franchises that instantly give me whiplash because of how well it fits the situation. It wasn't just there for, oh my god, reference love, or whatever people call it nowadays. Running Skydo has to be my favorite track from Chapter 5. The fact it uses the Mega Man X sound font is so perfect as it encapsulates that high energy feel that comes with playing a Mega Man X stage while still being its own thing. And I think the most special thing is that 10 or 20 years down the line, future game developers and musicians are no doubt going to use Toby Fox as inspiration for their stuff, creating their own brand of stylish things, and it got me thinking about the timeline of inspirations. Everyone's inspired by something, and you can keep going further back and back to see who inspired what. It won't be concrete, but let's use Zelda. Toby Fox obviously took inspiration from Zelda when creating the TV board minigames and the Sword Quest. And Zelda was inspired by Shigeru Miyamoto going around traveling around forests, caves. It was a real life experience he put into his video game. We can keep going with this mindset. Pokemon was inspired by its creator collecting bugs. And the chain chomp in Mario? That was inspired by, again, Shigeru Miyamoto getting jump scared by his neighbor's dog. And a little kid playing the game might be jump scared by the chain chomp, continuing generational trauma if that little kid grows up, becomes a video game developer, and creates a monster similar to the chain chomp because of that experience. But you can see all the inspiration go back to one thing: real life. And Toby Fox obviously doesn't just take stuff from video games and media. You can tell when something is inspired by a real life experience he had, and only serves to make his game more unique. There's this quote by Shigesato Itoi, the creator of Earthbound, in which he states that if you don't experience things outside of gaming, your ability to truly engage with games will fade. And I've always liked that quote. To truly engage with games, or any art form actually, since games are art, don't argue with me, you have to have some life experiences for it to truly work. Art that resonates with certain life experiences requires that experience for it to truly work, and that can happen the other way too. Imagine you have no life experience. Imagine you're sheltered and don't go outside. That's still a life experience. And imagine you play a game that resonates with that certain experience. Then you can truly engage with it. It's very subjective, of course, because no one experiences life the same, and I think if I were to add something to this quote, it'd be that games can help you experience things, or even more, want you to experience them. There's a reason why a lot of introverts, including myself, enjoy the Persona series. The protag is a quiet introvert at first, but slowly learns to make friends and have a social life. And you may share that life experience, in which case you can resonate with it. And if you aren't able to resonate with it, maybe it might give you the courage to try to. Video games are powerful stuff. I kind of derailed the conversation there with inspirations in real life, but all you need to know is that all of it comes together either be within you, within something you make, or some secret third thing. You can always tell what type of person someone is based on their inspirations and references, and it may lead to another generation of inspirations and references. What I'm trying to tell you is go outside and get some inspiration. Maybe this YouTube video will serve as inspiration to someone. Okay, so I forgot to mention Yume Nikki and Toho, which are also two of the biggest inspirations for Deltarune and Toby Fox stuff. I'm playing those games, so you can go watch a video essay on that. I'm trying to reduce my LARPing allegations. At least I'm being honest.